Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph Lavella.
And I'm Ron Sen. And as usual, we have lots of people, places, and local sports to talk about. First, a quote. Who said this? The best part about it, year 2 in the Patriot system, is when guys really get going. I feel comfortable. I'm excited to have my best season with the Patriots and show why I'm here.
Jones.
Nope. It's Nelson Aguilar.
Oh, wow.
It won't take much
Did he even play last year?
He had 37 catches last year and 400 and change in yards. So, we'll get to the Patriots later. Tonight, a big story nationally, a historically black college, Delaware State, women's lacrosse team was finishing up a road trip in Florida. And it was the end of their season, and they're taking a long bus ride back to Delaware, and they get stopped in Georgia. The troopers said it was going to be a routine stop, and then all of a sudden they're going through the players' stuff. They have drug-sniffing dogs, and after an hour of delay and harassment, they didn't find anything, and there is video of the stop, and it was just harassment, and it just shows that, when people say, why is this happening, the answer is, it's Georgia, I guess.
It is, because it wouldn't be happening up here.
Well, the bus driver said if it were Coach K and the Duke basketball team, do you think the police would be going through people's bags?
That's weird, though. That really is. That's so far away from what happens up in this area. It would never, ever happen in Massachusetts. And it just wouldn't. I deal with the police every day, and I know it just wouldn't happen. Well, I don't know what's going on down there.
I don't know if somebody dropped a dime on somebody so that the police were unreasonably suspicious, but they didn't find anything, and now the university's trying to get an apology. It happened on April 20th, so it's almost 3 weeks later, and there's no answer from the Georgia State Police.
How did the team do? How did that team do?
Yeah, they're just...
I'm wondering if they won and they beat teams pretty good and someone made a call.
Yeah, it didn't sound like they were any superpower.
If there was no call, that grounds for suspension anyway for those police officers. That's ridiculous.
Well, anyway, that's the kind of stuff that black people go through, although it's an interracial team.
Not in Mass, though. Does not happen in Mass.
Anyway, you are what you eat. And Chris Paul III has had a pretty good playoff series, but as somebody said the other day, I guarantee you he's going to choke in the next game after his 14 for 14, and he had 5 points. So it was just, and he said, I'm a Chris Paul fan, but he always lets you down in the playoffs when it matters.
Well, to me, he's just, I still, if I had to pick who's going to win the title, I would say it's going to be between them and the Celtics. That would be my prediction. I think I don't see how Golden State will beat them if they face them. But they both have to get there. Yeah. Golden State got lucky yesterday.
Well, they have Morant out.
He's out. And then Dallas tied up.
You wonder, Morant is a fabulous player, but the way he plays flying to the rim, it just feels like he's going to get hurt. Not because people are trying to hurt him. It's just the nature of what he does.
Well, right, he's going to get better and better.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Michael Jordan when he came out, how great he was, things he did. If this kid can start hitting that jump shot more consistently, he's going to be unstoppable.
He has something of an awkward shot, but it goes in, so it's not as though it's ineffective.
Do you like his father?
I don't know. I really don't think
all the Golden State players love him. They go up to him, shake his hand.
Anyway, so Chris Paul the third is a vegan, so I guess he claims that's the secret to his success. Probably is that he's really a great player. That makes a difference too. All right, his quiz. What NCAA championship basketball coach was born in Melrose? And the answer is Tara Vanderveer. Tara Vanderveer, the Stanford coach, was born in Melrose, but she didn't live in Massachusetts for very long.
Wow.
But good trivia. Draymond Green had a tribute to former teammate at Michigan State, Adrian Payne. And you probably remember Payne, but not for his basketball.
I remember him.
Okay, well, he was famous and he befriended this little blonde girl who had cancer and who ultimately died. And so Payne was shot.
31 years old, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. Who knows? And you might have seen that little conversation between Ronald Acuna of the Braves and LeBron James. Acuna hit a massive home run and did a bat flip, and the LeBron James signature move, the silencer, where you lift up a knee and put your hands both down. So LeBron was really taken by it. Was great. It was a great video. So to me, never bothered me, even as a pitcher, if somebody hit a home run, if they showboated, because they hit the home run. I mean, if they hit a single and they did it, that would
bothers the pros. I don't know why.
Just
get him back the next time.
Yeah, don't get excited about it, because if somebody does a great thing, they should be excited. Now, what could determine the outcome in the playoffs, and we don't know, is who's out for COVID. Steve Kerr, I think the coach is less critical in the NBA than most sports, but he was out. And of course, Charlie Mcavoy was out last game for the Bruins, who are really defensively shorthanded. You have some news on Mcavoy?
Yeah, I was listening to, on the way over, I was listening to 98.5 and Felga's show, and they got a call from a reporter saying that McAvoy just walked into the building, and then they got another call stating that, from a female reporter, saying that he's going to lace up his skates and he's going to do the pregame, skate. So it looks like he's playing. I guess if you're negative 2 or 3 times, even though it's not the 5 days,
okay,
you can play. I mean, they weren't sure, but he's there, and it looks like he's going to be playing tonight.
Well, hopefully he feels okay, because you don't want him playing just because he has a negative test if he doesn't feel okay.
Sometimes it relaxes the team when they see he's there and they don't play as good. I mean, they played great the other night without their 2 top defensive players.
Right.
And with Swayman in there, they say that they play a lot better when him and net.
Well, it would have been really
it
would have been really easy after getting blown out twice in Carolina for the Bruins to just come home, lay down, and pick up the sticks this week. And so I'll give them a lot of credit for showing heart and evening the series at 2.
Well, putting Pasternak back on that first line is huge. I mean, he should have always. I know you want to have 2 good lines, but when you have a line like that, you keep him in the playoffs, especially. And
Marchand's taken a lot of heat through the years about underperformance in the playoffs, and he had 5 points the other night, which is incredible. So now, as a person who watches a lot of NBA games, I'm getting kind of annoyed on all these replays about, is it a flagrant foul or just a normal basketball play? And sometimes it's hard to tell. What do you think about that?
Well, it is hard to tell. I mean, that one they called last night on Horford, that was ridiculous. He came in, he stuffed it because you know what happened earlier in the game, and then he lifted his arm out, they caught, and then they were all going to the floor though. It's unbelievable. You watch the Dallas game, they're going to the floor every time they get touched.
If you watch the replay, it's really interesting because Horford had hit a couple threes, so Giannis was closing out hard on him, so he got by him, got the step, and was able to get a dunk in the 3-point play. Unfortunately, he got technical foul as part of it. But a good example of, you either close out on the shot or you give them the shot. You can't really do both with high-level players because they're going to burn you. You can't have it both ways.
Well, Giannis blew it earlier when we did this dunk on Horford, and he stared at him, and he got the technical. That got Horford really upset, and look what he did. Played his best game ever.
And Horford said he really couldn't tell what he said. It was the way he said it. The way he said it.
But that was stupid. They're going to tell Giannis that was probably the worst move you could have made. You never get on another play. I mean, play hard, physical.
Well, one thing, it's important for people who are not in the know about players' health status to be cautious about comments. I remember a few years ago, Mike Napoli got a dislocated outside finger sliding into second base. And Maserati says, well, don't worry about it, spit on it and throw some dirt. The inside fingers are used for fine movement and the outside fingers are used for grasping. So if you can't hold the bat, it's kind of hard to hit. So if you're Maserati, who I'm not sure what he knows a lot about, but obviously not anything about hands.
Oh, he likes to rile people up.
And then people gave Ben Simmons a ration of stuff about sitting out because of his back problem and saying he had no heart. And now it turns out he needs back surgery. So everybody who questioned his character really has to shut up now. So that's a tough one. One of our favorite people, Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, had an unfortunate incident where he had a minor car accident, but it was in the red light district in Dallas. So apparently there's only one reason you go there, and he didn't get caught red-handed, as it were, but doesn't look good.
Was he driving?
I don't know.
I wonder if he was alone.
I would think a guy like that would have a driver everywhere, but who knows. Big news for Tom Brady. He doesn't have enough money from playing football, so he's going to clean up on Fox Sports, and they're saying he's got a 25 extra large contract for them.
10 years, $335 million? I mean, that can't be right. $35 million a year? Wow, it's more than he made in playing, quarterback. He never made over $25 million.
I don't think the Beatles made that, and they had a lot better lyrics than Tom's going to have, no matter what he sings. So, anyway, wore my soccer shirt today because Electronic Arts and FIFA are going their separate ways. So I guess they're not going to be able to use the images and likenesses. I don't know where FIFA is going to go next. And it was a good quote by David Thorpe. He wasn't talking about Horford so much, but about James Harden. And he says, it's not that players become unspectacular with age, it's they have few spectacular performances with age. So he's talking about Harden and saying the big game he had the other night to rescue the Sixers against Miami. He said, don't expect that to happen again soon.
Big game tonight, though. A real big game down in Miami. I'm looking forward to watching that.
And Harden, I read, has 4 years and $226 million left on his contract. So if he slows down a little bit, that's a lot of change out there. I want to talk a little bit in this segment, too, about coaches. And it's my opinion that the best high school coach in Massachusetts, by a long shot, is somebody that many of you have never heard of, but people in basketball know her well. It's Kristin Mcdonald of Norwood. She won 4 state championships in Division I at Braintree, and then moved on to where she's a guidance counselor at Norwood. She's coached Norwood for 3 seasons. Only 2 of the seasons did they have playoffs, and this year she took them to the Division II finals, where they lost to a powerhouse Malden Catholic / players from all over Massachusetts.
Well, boys, right?
Yeah. So, right, she's one of the few women who are coaching boys. And the question is, how does she do it? Because Braintree has gone totally downhill since she left. Now, I don't know if that's because the youth program fell apart, or whether probably what happens a lot is other teams, private schools, take the best players when the coach isn't there to give them a reason to stay.
Well, that's what happens. When she's there, she's not going to lose any player, that's for sure. Although she had problems with some parents, and you know why.
Yeah, so I always say there's 3 keys to why players play. Minutes, role, and recognition. And there was one parent in particular who complained that Coach McDonald hadn't supported her daughter enough, which was totally not true. As the girl has a Division I scholarship playing, I'm not sure in which league. I know the team. I'm not going to say it. And number 2, the girl's name was in the paper, in the Globe or the Herald, all the time for her exploits. So I don't know what more she could do.
She didn't play enough minutes to get the points. I mean, the 1,000 points or whatever. Although she did get 1,000.
Yeah, I think she did. So
this parent wanted her daughter to play more minutes.
Okay. Well, and backing that up is Danny Ventura named her the Boston Herald Coach of the Decade. So when I emailed her, a while back for a blog piece. She said the key is relationships, and she works a lot on that. But another thing which I thought was really interesting, she's in a basketball Zoom group, which it turns out are all women coaches, and there's about 30 coaches that get together from time to time and talk basketball online. And I think there's a great value to being able to share your thoughts with other coaches on a regular basis. You just, because nobody knows everything, and it's good to get other people's thoughts on your team and other teams.